Okay. Oma Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam Vande Ham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vidamtam Shajivam Sadvaitam Shavadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabhandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panglungam Hade Girim Jat Kripa Tamahang Vande Dinatara Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katancha Aswin Duskaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismrite Viparitam Shri Chaitanya Namamitam Hare Krishna. So welcome all the devotees to our English Bhakti Sasi class. So we're still in chapter 3. So anybody remember where we left, where we stopped in our previous class?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mohan Prabhu.
It's UFO 3.14.
3.14. 14. Okay. Thank you. Because I was a bit confused. Actually, now I'm teaching in 3 different batches. So I was confused a little bit. Thank you very much. Okay, so 3.14. Yeah. Where is that? 14. Yeah, not Bhavanti Bhutani. All right. So we'll resume our class today. So in the previous class, yes, exactly. We are discussing about from Karma Kanda to Karma Yoga. I think we have discussed this Anad Bhavanti Bhutani, and also till text number 16 we have discussed. Yeah. So regarding from Karma Kanda to Karma Yoga, because Lord Krishna explained that through Karma Yoga one can be free from sinful reactions because connecting everything to the Lord. But then question may raise, what if people not ready to perform this Karma Yoga? So what to do? So Karma Kanda is advice. Yeah, so something is better than nothing. All right. Oh, where is it? Yeah. So today we start from text 17. Yeah, 17 to 35. This is our main topic of discussion today about Karma Yoga, performing prescribed work in detachment to set example. Yeah. So of course, Krishna explained in the previous verse that for a pure devotee, for a pure devotee, there is no occupation, there is no duty bound such personality. Devarsi Bhuta Tandrinam Pitrinam. So there is no rules and regulation that bound such a pure devotee. But even then also, being a pure devotee, in order to set up a good example for people in general, so he must perform his prescribed duty. So that was being advised by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in this section from text 17 to 35. Yeah. In verses 17 through 21, Krishna describes the position of the self-realized person in relation to work. Although the self-realized person need not perform prescribed duties, he continues working to set the example for common man to follow. Yeah, this is the verse where Krishna mentioned yad yad acharati shreshtas. We will see that verse later here. And Krishna uses himself as an example to show that even God works according to scripture to set a standard for others to follow. Interesting. Yeah, even God is working. Krishna also describes how a knowledgeable person should relate to ignorant men who are attached to fruitive results. The devotee should encourage people by his words and example to engage the result of their work in devotional service. And then Arjuna is finally advised to fight with devotion for Krishna and become free from bondage of fruitive actions. Krishna concludes his explanation of Karma Yoga by warning Arjuna not to give up his prescribed duties. Though there may be some imperfection, he explained that everyone is forced to act according to their nature. So slightly we'll talk about Triguna also here. Okay. So text number 17. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in self only, fully satiated, for him there's no duty. You see, this is the description of an Atmarama person. Yeah, Atmarama means one who takes pleasure in himself. He doesn't need anything outside himself to become happy because he is a self-realized person. So a pure devotee will always being satisfied in any situation. Yeah. Narad Muni explained in the Bhagavatam in the first canto very nicely. Daya sarvabhutanam santustya yena kena va sarvendriyo pasantasya tushyantyasu janardana. So the first thing he mentioned is that Daya sarvabhutanam. That means he is full of compassion to all living entities. And then santustya yena kena, he will be always satisfied with whatever situation in his life. Santustya yena kena sarva indriyo pashantasya. And he'll control all his senses. That means he engages his senses in Krishna's service. Santustya yena kenava sarvendriyo pasantya tushyati astu janardana. So in that way, Lord Janardana, Lord Krishna will be easily pleased. So that's the symptom of self-realized person. He always satisfied. Atmaram. Yeah. Atmaram means one who is self-sufficient. He doesn't need anything, he doesn't need anything outside himself. He just be satisfied with his relationship with Krishna. So for such a person, self-realized person, there is no duty bind such a person. That's Krishna's explanation here. That's the first thing. Yeah. Why is a fully Krishna conscious person not obliged to follow the Vedic injunctions? Yeah. Prabhupada explained here, by such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. His duty thus becomes self-eliminated by the grace of the Lord, and therefore he no longer has any obligation to the Vedic injunctions. Okay, so a pure devotee, even if they don't follow rules and regulation, they are fine because they are pure devotee, completely absorbed in Krishna. Yeah, completely absorbed in Krishna. Text number 18. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any needs to depend on any other living beings. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada. This is from Surrender Unto Me by Gurujan Prabhu. He mentioned these verses describe an Atmarati. Okay, so Atmaram, Atmarati, same term. Atmarati means he's just interested in himself, in Atma. Yeah. One who takes pleasure in the self. Such a person is not concerned with loss or gain while performing his duty, nor is he disturbed by obstacles. Yeah. Text number 19. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, or by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. See, working without attachment means we work and the result is offered to Krishna. What does it mean, working without attachment? It's not that we are being neglectful. It is not being neglectful, but we offer the result to Krishna. That's real detachment. Yeah, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchate. So Yukta Vairagya means real detachment. Rather, the Mayavadi, in other hand, the Mayavadi, they have this understanding that, we should not be bound by this material world and we have to renounce ourselves. But unfortunately, they don't connect themselves to Krishna. They simply become artificially detached to this material world. Yeah, but how long they can detach like that? So there are so many, Prabhupada explained, there are so many so-called spiritualists, and later on they fall down again from their position and they act just like normal socialists, because they don't connect themselves to Krishna. So real detachment means not giving up the whole world, but we connect everything to Krishna. That's real detachment. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada explained, to be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment. So Prabhupada is hinting on Arjuna here, because Arjuna wanted to give up his duty, wanted to avoid the fight. Yeah. Prabhupada mentioned, to be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment, but to act on behalf of the Supreme is to act without attachment. For the result, that is the perfect action of the highest degree recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Yeah. Simply being a moralist. So being a good man, being a non-violent is a moral, moralist is good. But what is the point? It's simply becoming a good man, but not a devotee of the Lord. Yeah. So there is good, there is better, and there is best. So of course the best is being a good man, at the same time being Krishna's devotee. In fact, Krishna's devotee develop natural quality of becoming a good person. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunais tatra samaste suraha. So all the good qualities possessed by the demigods become manifest in the body of a devotee who is engaged in the Lord's service. Yeah. So this is a lecture by Srila Prabhupada. So a Krishna conscious person acts on behalf of Krishna. These boys, they are going to preach Krishna consciousness. People may receive it or not receive it. That doesn't matter. Their duty is to preach. The fortunate person will be attracted. Unfortunate may not be attracted, but they have to do the duty. It is very simple. My Guru Maharaj used to say that if somebody said that we went to preach in such and such place, only there were 3 or 4 attendants. So my Guru Maharaj used to encourage them. And it is factual that why 2, 3 men were there was sufficient. If there were none, you could speak. This is interesting. If there were none, you could speak and the walls would hear you. You see why you are disappointed. So the point here, I just put this quote here by Srila Prabhupada in his lecture, mentioning that whatever happened, it doesn't matter. So the main thing is that we carry on our prescribed duty. So being a devotee, so just especially preaching is pleasing to Krishna. Yeah, Nachata asman manusheshu kachin me priya krita maha bhavitanya Bhavita na chame tashat anya priyataru. There is no other person more dear to Krishna than the devotee who preach Krishna consciousness. Anya priyataru. In this world, there is no other person. Krishna says. So sometimes we may feel discouraged, or while distributing books, for example, nobody is taking the books. Well, that's fine. We try our best, and the result is after Krishna karma nivadikara state. Back to that principle again. Yeah. Even I heard from one senior devotee, even if that person just touch the book, actually their life is becomes purified simply by touching Srila Prabhupada's book. Their life becomes purified. And what to speak of, they take the book, yeah, and they read the book, learn the philosophy. Yeah. So our business is just to carry on our duty. So that's the point that Krishna wanted to impart here to Arjun, that although a self-realized person, a pure devotee, he doesn't need to do his prescribed duty, but still, in order to perform, in order to set up example, set up a good example for the common people, so he must perform his prescribed duty. Yeah. Text number 20. Kings, such as Janaka, attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. See, Janaka is the father of Sita Devi. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada explained, being a great devotee of the Lord, he was transcendentally situated. But because he was the king of Mithila, a subdivision of Bihar province in India, he had to teach the subject how to perform prescribed duties. So Janak Maharaj, yeah, there are so many other kings also, such as Ambarish Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. They are all great kings. Yeah, they are all great kings, busy in their managing their kingdoms. Yeah, but at the same time, they are actually engaged in Krishna's service 24 hours. Therefore, those great kings actually addressed as the Raja Rishi. Raja Rishi means a king who possesses the quality of a sage. Raja Rishi, like Parikshit Maharaj or Yudhishthir Maharaj. These are Raja Rishi. Yeah. Janaka is being quoted here by Krishna. Janaka is the father of Sita Devi. Yeah, so he is busy in managing his kingdom, is in ruling his kingdom, being Kshatriya, but at the same time, he's a great devotee of the Lord. Yeah, Janaka is one of the 12 Mahajans. Yeah. Swayambhu Narada Sambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Pralado Janako Vishnu Bali Vayasakir Vayam. So Janaka is one of the 12 Mahajanas. Interesting, there is one story about Janak Maharaj. Yeah. How he's great, of course, there are different reasons to establish his greatness. One is that Sita is taking birth. Well, actually, Sita was found while he was plowing a land, his land. So, of course, Sita is the goddess of fortune herself, and Ram married to Sita. So, what can be a greater fortune than becoming the father-in-law of God? Yeah, but one time, Janak Maharaj, so uh, he has his spiritual master, his guru. So he used to attend uh, the classes given by his guru. Yeah, and then normally when the student arrived, so before Janak Maharaj arrived, so his spiritual master will not start the class before Janaka arrived, so he will not start the class. Then other students complain, oh, because he is a king, he is wealthy, he is the ruler of this country. Our spiritual master giving him special attention. So other students complain. And then they of course, protested their guru. And then one day, their guru creates some illusion. So when Janak Maharaj came and then all other students came, so they are listening to the class, and then their guru create an illusion as if there is a fire in their houses, in the palace. So upon seeing this illusion, all other students, they ran toward their houses trying to save their family members, their wealth, their cattle, yeah, such as cows, buffaloes, like this. They ran toward their house, but Janak Maharaj remained there, just sit, full attention, listening to his Guru Maharaj. And then they ran to their houses, but nothing happened. It's just illusion. And then when they came back, they found that actually Janak Maharaj remained there undisturbed. Then they felt ashamed of themselves, criticizing their guru, that putting special attention to Janak Maharaj because he deserved. He's the best student. Because others, while attending the class may get diverted attention toward so many things. But Janak Maharaj, when he sit on the class, he just sit paying full attention. Yeah. Pravrishta Karnarandrena Swanam Bhava Sharoruham Dunoti Samalam Krishna Salilasya Yata Sharat. So the Srimad Bhagavatam explain what will be the result of a person who's paying attention. Karnarandrena means the whole of one's ear. Simply by dedicating this, part of body, the whole of one's ear. Salilasya Yata Sharat. The analogy given in that verse is that just like during the autumn, sometimes there is heavy rain pour down, and if there is a pool full of mud, so the whole mud will be washed off by this heavy rain. So similarly, if we just pay attention and receive, spiritual subject matter, all the dirt in our heart will be washed off. Yeah, so nice. So that's how Janak Maharaj established himself, actually, of being a Mahajan, paying attention to his spiritual master. Yashya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tata guru tashyate katita hyata prakasante mahatmana. So in that verse explained that Mahatma, a great soul, is a person who surrenders, who has faith to his Guru and Krishna. Not only to Krishna, but also his Guru, because Guru is Saksat Haritve. Yeah, every day we sing this Saksat Haritve na samasta sastra. So Saksat Haritve means he is the direct representative of the Lord. So Prakasante Mahatmana, all the spiritual knowledge, will be revealed to that great person, to that Mahatma. And what is the symptom of Mahatma? He has faith both to his Guru and Krishna. Yeah. All right. So that's about Janak Maharaj. Yeah. He is a king, busy king, ruling his subject, but at the same time, he's a great devotee of God. So he's a Raja Rishi. So Janak Maharaj attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Of course, that prescribed duty in connection to Krishna. And then text number 21. Here is the famous verse, Yad Yada Charati Shreshtas Tad Tad Evetaro Janaha Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokastadanu Vartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standard he sets, by exemplary act, all the world pursues. Lokastad anuvartate. Anuvartate means they will go toward it. So lokastad anuvartate. That is nice pastime of Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada met George Harrison for the first time. Yeah. So George Harrison, the Beatles, a very famous band group in London. So when George Harrison, along with other groups are the members of the Beatles, like John Lennon. So they met Srila Prabhupada in Prabhupada's room. Guess what happened? What is the first word emanates from Srila Prabhupada's lotus mouth? This verse. Immediately Srila Prabhupada quote this verse. Yad yada chahati srestas tatate vetarojana. Whatever a great man perform, common man will follow. Because those days, the Beatles is like, people worship them like God. They have a lot of fans. They're a very famous singer. George Harrison is a very famous singer. Yeah. So Prabhupada said to George Harrison, if you take up this Krishna consciousness movement, so we will create a lot of devotees. A lot of devotees. In one place, Prabhupada explained that how can this world will be nicely in harmony, how the society can be in harmony if we don't have a proper leader. Just small thing like smoking cigarette, because our leaders smoke cigarette, so the common man follow them. Although on the pack of cigarettes, sometimes they write cigarette. If you smoke cigarette, this will be the result. This disease you will get, blah blah blah, and so on. Simply reading that, people will not follow it unless a great person set up an example. Yeah. Have you heard the story of Srila Prabhupada drinking 7-Up? How many of you have heard this story, Srila Prabhupada drank 7-Up? No, okay. I'll tell you. No, this is water. So one time, Srila Prabhupada, he was traveling. At that time, His Grace Srutakirti Prabhu was his personal servant. So he was traveling on the aeroplane. Okay. So the air hostess started walking, distributing the food. And then Prabhupada was asking, oh, what is there? What is there? And then Srutakirti Prabhu was asking, hey, here, what is there? And she said, oh, this is 7-Up. Prabhupada said, oh, 7-Up. Can I have a cup? And then Srutakirti Prabhu was bewildered, oh, Srila Prabhupada, he's going to drink 7-Up now. And then, okay, she poured 7-Up in a cup. And then Prabhupada said, give him also, because Srutakirti was sitting next to Prabhupada, give him also. So Srutakirti Prabhu got also another cup, and Prabhupada drank. And Prabhupada said, it's so refreshing. Can I get another one? So pour again. Prabhupada drank it. So refreshing. And Srutakirti Prabhu was a bit bewildered, but he felt like little bit liberation, because all these days he was like so strict, no soft drink, nothing. But this time he got the taste of 7-Up again after a long time in his life. So Prabhupada said, it's so refreshing. And then they landed. And then after a few days in a morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was walking on the street. And then across the street, there is one shop. And Prabhupada saw in the glass of that shop is 7-Up. And Prabhupada asked, is there 7-Up? And the devotee said, yes, Prabhupada, get me one. So they purchased one for Srila Prabhupada. And then, this news spread all over the world. Prabhupada drinking 7-Up spread all over the world. And devotees start to drink 7-Up, Coca-Cola, Fanta, this and that. And then Prabhupada went to visit one of the temples, and then he saw in the Brahmachari ashram on the stairs toward the Brahmachari's room, there are so many empty cans of Fanta, Sprite, 7-Up, Coca-Cola. And Prabhupada looked at this. Prabhupada, what happened here? Why are they drinking this soft drink? And call all of them. Prabhupada called all of them and gave heavy lecture on soft drink. And then one devotee said, but Prabhupada, we heard you drank 7-Up. Prabhupada said, I drank because I have some digestion problem. Otherwise, I will not drink. So only those 2 times Srila Prabhupada drank 7 up, and Prabhupada said that it's mistake. As soon as I do this, these fools and rascals start to imitate me. From now onward, stop this. But especially you, brahmachari and sannyasi, should not drink this. Should not drink this. So since that day, Srila Prabhupada never drank 7 up anymore. Yeah. So you see, just this is simple thing. Prabhupada just drinks 7 up, and all his followers imitate, follow his footstep. Yeah. So that was the pastime. Srila Prabhupada drank 7 up. Well, of course, we also may justify ourselves that, oh, I drink 7 up. Why not Prabhupada drank that? Yeah. So whatever great man perform will be immediately followed by common man. So one time when Srila Prabhupada was traveling, so Srila Prabhupada reached one temple midnight, 2 o'clock. And then he got up again at 4 o'clock for Mangala Arati. And Srutakirti said that, Prabhupada, you need to take rest. Prabhupada said, if I sleep, all these fools and rascals will also sleep. They will not come to Mangala Arati. So Prabhupada set up example, another pastime also about Srila Prabhupada, that in few times, normally when Srila Prabhupada needs something, so he has a big desk in the front of him, and he was doing his translating work, and also he has bell, ganta. When he needs something, he just rang his bell, and his servant would come. So many times he just rang his bell, and when Srutakirti Prabhu entered his room, Prabhupada was reading his book. One time Prabhupada was reading Bhagavad Gita, and he just rang his bell to tell Srutakirti Prabhu that, this book is so wonderful. Simply by reading this book, our life is success. And Srutakirti was asking, so Prabhupada, any service? Prabhupada said, no. He just want to tell this. And then another occasion, he was reading about Krishna book, and same thing happened. Ring his bell, and he just want to tell that simply by reading this book, one's life becomes perfected. And then one more time is he was reading Nectar of Devotion, and he was relishing his own book. So Srila Prabhupada is not telling only his followers to read his book, but he himself practiced. This is called acharya. Therefore, yad achara means teaching by personal example. Yeah. It is not that Srila Prabhupada only telling us to read his book, but he himself reading his book. One time Srila Prabhupada mentioned, when I write this book, actually it is not me. Krishna is dictating myself. Therefore, when Srila Prabhupada reads his book, he feels so much ecstasy. Yeah. Normally, we don't read our own books. We know what is there in our book if we write any book. So that's the point here. Whatever great personality perform will be followed by common man. So if Arjun giving up his duty of fighting, then others may think that, oh, he's just a coward. Okay, not good example. Let's see Srila Prabhupada's purport. So that was about George Harrison also. Prabhupada wants him to be a devotee, and others will follow automatically. So anyway, regarding George Harrison, just want to share something. As soon as the first recording of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra uh, released, so 10,000 copies, immediately the recording immediately sold out. People get benefit of that. Lord Chaitanya said, Prabhupada explained, Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before begin teaching. This is very important aspect. A teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach common man. the king or the executive head of a state, the father and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Guru na sashat, swajano na sashat, pita na sashat, janani na sashat, daivam na tashan, na paticha sashat, namo chayatya samupetyam rich. So becoming a guru, father, mother is actually a natural leader. And the duty is that to deliver their dependents. That's what Srila Prabhupada explained. And Prabhupada quoted Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya says, before we start preaching, first is achar and then prachar. First we behave ourselves properly and then we start preaching. Otherwise, it doesn't work like this. I smoke cigarette, but I tell people stop smoking. So they will not listen to me. That's easy thing to understand, right? In the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he is a sannyas. He was taking a role of a sannyas. So when he walk on the street, he always keep his distance far away from any woman, and no woman allowed to have his close darshan. So he was teaching how to become an ideal sannyasi. There are so many. ISKCON has a big history. ISKCON has a big history. One time, I was told by one senior devotee that if we just if we write book about ISKCON history, so the past time, the time when Srila Prabhupada left, and then the 11 journal acharya, so that can be one kanda, of our ISKCON movement. Anyway, those days, in the early days, there are, of course, many sannyasis. Our sannyasis fell down, yeah, because they are not maintaining proper standard of behavior. They are very loose. Srila Prabhupada, one time he said that, no, one time actually Srila Prabhupada was taking darshan in the front of the deities, and he just closed his eyes and praying with palm. Uh, he palmed his hand like this, and then he was praying, and one of his disciples asked, like, Prabhupada, what are you praying for? And Prabhupada said, I'm praying to Krishna, so Krishna will always protect me from Maya. And the devotee asking, Prabhupada, are you afraid of Maya? Because the principle is that, okay, Mama Maya Durataya, Maya is very difficult to overcome, but Mam Evaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. If one fully surrender to Krishna, then there's no need of being afraid of Maya. So his disciple was asking, Prabhupada, are you afraid of Maya? And Prabhupada said, many of my disciples fall down because they don't afraid Maya enough. Because they don't afraid Maya enough. They are too there, especially sannyasis should not be too close connected with women. Yeah. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was setting up a good example. Okay, that's about this verse. Setting up example. Arjuna fight just to set example. This is Krishna's instruction here. Text 22. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all three planetary systems. So now Krishna is talking about himself. Even he himself, being the supreme person, being God, still he has to do his prescribed duties. Nor am I in want of anything, nor have I in need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. So this is a lecture from Srila Prabhupada. Yes, just see, Krishna, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. We work because we need something, but what he needs, but what need he has, sorry, he is full. is self-sufficient, but still he comes. As it is stated, yada yada hi dharmasya. Yeah, he comes. Krishna is also, Krishna has duty. Yeah, paritranaya sadhunam vinasa chaduskritam dharma samsapnataya. So these three things is Krishna's work. These three things are his activities. Yeah, why he comes here. 23. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. So why did Krishna perform prescribed duties? Prabhupada explained, although such rules and regulations are for the conditioned souls and not Lord Krishna, because he descended to establish the principles of religion, he followed the prescribed rules. Otherwise, common man would follow his footstep in his footstep, because he is the greatest authority. You see, what to speak of Arjuna, even Krishna, who is God himself, still he has to set up example, good example, because people will follow. Yeah, people will follow. Interestingly, before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur re-established the real teaching of Vaishnavism. So there are so many Babajis, so many, so-called Vaishnavas. They are proclaiming themselves to be Vaishnavas, but they are misbehaving because they have this philosophy. If you want to understand about the pastime of Sri Radha and Krishna, you must have a special relationship, conjugal relationship with somebody else's wife. Yeah, there are so many Babajis, they seems to be renowned, but they have 3 or 4 women with them. Yeah, because they try to imitate Krishna. Krishna has relationship with the married gopis, right? So their philosophy is that if you want to understand about the pastime of Lord Krishna with the gopis, and so with Radharani, because Radharani, of course, in that pastime, he got married to Abhimanyu. Yeah, but so they said that if you want to understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, you must have conjugal relationship with somebody else's wife. So at that time, the Vaishnavism is considered to be very, very abominable. Abominable. That's like before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur re-established the real teaching of Vaishnavism. Yeah. So if you want to become Gopi Jana Vallabha, you have to be able to become a Giri Varadari. Okay, if you say that Krishna is behaving like that, so he's the greatest authority, so we can also follow it, yes. But you should follow also all his activities, not that part, that enjoying part. You have to be able to live Govardhan. If you are able to live Govardhan, then you can have relationship with somebody else's wife. Prove yourself to be God first. Yeah, first Giri Varadari and then Gopi Jana Vallabha. But none of us is able to do that, to live Govardhan Hill. So we should not imitate that pastime of Krishna, having conjugal relationship with the married gopis. Yeah. There's one explanation by Srila Prabhupada that sometimes we see that in behavior, Krishna may misbehaving, like stealing the gopis' dress. What is that? It's immoral, right? But of course, first of all, Krishna wants to please them because that's their desire. That's the gopis' desire. And second thing is that I think that was Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that between Krishna's words and Krishna's activities, Krishna's words should be our priority. We must follow Krishna's word. Yeah. That's the statement of our Acharya. Right. One might argue that, okay, here it is, I think here it is. One might argue that some of Krishna's actions on the battlefield and his behavior in Vrindavan with the gopis do not conform to the recommended sastric path. Right here in the battlefield, Krishna is talking about dharma. He's talking about dharma. This is rules and regulation you must follow. This is religious principles. But his behavior in Vrindavan, seemingly a contradiction. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Although Krishna generally does not transgress scriptural injunctions, he occasionally does so to please his devotees and to exhibit his supreme independent position. Okay, Krishna is independent, so he can do whatever he wants. If therefore a discrepancy exists between Krishna's words and his actions, his words should be followed. Yeah, his words should be followed. Now, no one should imitate Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and act in opposition to Shastra. Okay, Krishna, of course, not only once, twice in his life, he breaks rules and regulations, but many times. But the purpose behind that is that to please his devotees and to show that he's independent. When Krishna misbehaving, there is no karmic reaction because he is God. Because he is God. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada advised, and the Acharyas also advised that before entering the 10th canto, we must study scrutinizingly, systematically, the first canto till the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So one should not jump directly to the 10th canto, especially the intimate Rasa Lila pastime of the Lord. Otherwise, we may misunderstand Krishna being immoralist. But if we study the first canto, second, third, especially the part of creation, which is very, very complicated subject matter, creation, we will understand that ultimately Krishna is the root of creation. Aham evasam eva gre na anyad yat sadasat param paschad aham yat etacha yovasishyeta sosmyaham. First Chatusloki, Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, in the second canto, Krishna mentioned that aham evasam eva gre, to Lord Brahma. Yeah. Before this creation existed, the only person exists is me. Krishna says. And then while it's running, the creation is running. So who's existing? Krishna is the maintainer, And then after this creation being annihilated, who remain exists is me. So Krishna is the beginning, middle, and future. Yeah, that's Krishna. Krishna includes everything. So when we understand Krishna's position, Krishna's tattva, yeah, his creation, and this creation is so complicated, and ultimately the root of creation is Krishna, then there is no doubt in our heart when we read these intimate pastimes that yes, he's God. He can do whatever he wants because he's God. But if we just jump directly to the 10th canto,
I think Prabhu got disconnected. I'll text him once. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right. I apologize. I closed my video and microphone because my son is coming. He also wants to sit here and he's crying. Sorry for that. So yeah, if we just jump directly to Krishna's intimate pastime without understanding Krishna's tattva, then we may have wrong conclusion about Krishna. Therefore, it's very important to read systematically the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the creation part, because we will understand that ultimately Krishna is the root cause of all creation. From Krishna appeared Balaram, and then from Balaram appeared the first Chaturvyuha, and then from the Sankar son of the first Chaturvyuha appeared the second Chaturvyuha, And then from the Sankarsana of the second Chaturvyuha appear the Purusha Avatara. Yeah, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakasaya Vishnu. Yeah, from Mahavishnu's body appear unlimited number of universes. And then in each universe, the Lord also enter as Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. Yeah, and Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, he was sweating because there is no air in this universe. He was sweating. Half of the universe is filled up with his sweat, by his sweat in the form of milk. Yeah, so Krishna's sweat is milk. And then from this appear Brahma. And then further, Lord Krishna expand himself to be Kshirodakasaya Vishnu or the Paramatma. So this complex creation, very intricate, ultimately Krishna is the root. So when we understand Krishna is God through all these evidences, then there's no doubt in our heart when we meet some contradiction, seemingly contradiction in his actions, because he's God, so he's independent, right? And all contradiction that he does is actually to protect his devotees or to please his devotees, like stealing the gopis' dress, because the gopis want that. For example, also when Krishna breaks his promise, is that he will not raise any weapon in the battlefield, because he said that I just be a driver, that's it. But he tried to kill Bhishma, so he broke his promise. And for Kshatriya, for a Brahmana, if you break your vow, that's considered to be abominable. No? And then when Krishna advised Bhimsen to smash Duryodhana's thigh, that's also considered to be breaking the rule of the fight, because in this fight, club fight, there's a rule that you cannot hit the part below the waist. But Lord Krishna told Bhim to smash his thigh. So Balaram was complaining at the time. Balaram was complaining, why you do this? You are breaking the rules. And Krishna said, well, however, Bhima should fulfill his vow, because Bhima took a vow that he will smash Duryodhana's thigh. Otherwise, how could Bhima fulfill his vow? Krishna is so intelligent. Yeah. So if any contradiction in Krishna's action, we should neglect that and should not follow that. Main thing, we follow Krishna's word. Another reason why Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita outside Vrindavan, because if he speaks the Bhagavad Gita in Vrindavan, nobody would listen to Krishna, because this devotee is too familiar with Krishna, with intimate relationship. Oh, you are talking about Sarva Dharman Parityaja. What about you? What about you? You are a thief. Yeah. So sometimes the devotee told me that sometimes we cannot preach to our own family members, or sometimes we cannot really preach in our own village due to some familiarity. Sometimes they don't listen to us. Yeah, well, sometimes they may listen, but most of the time, due to familiarity, they don't listen to us. Therefore, if you want to preach, go out far away where nobody knows you, so they will respect you. Yeah, but that's not an absolute statement, of course. That's not an absolute statement. But in most cases, it is true like that. Okay, we should move ahead. Text number 24. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all this world would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. You see, in the first chapter, Arjuna said that I don't want to fight. One of the reasons is that destruction of the dynasty, and that will lead to unwanted population because the woman is being unprotected. So here is actually Krishna is hinting Arjuna to that reason for Arjuna not to fight. Here is Lord Krishna tried to defeat Arjuna's reason. Yeah, so Arjuna's reason not to fight by saying destruction of the family dynasty is defeated here by karma yoga. So one must follow prescribed duty. Yeah, I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. Prabhupada explained the Lord is the father of all living entities, and if the living entities are misguided indirectly, the responsibility goes to the Lord. Therefore, whenever there is a general disregard of regulative principles, the Lord Himself descends and corrects the society. Yeah, yada hidarmasya. And interestingly, also it is described in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the Prithu Maharaj section that Prabhupada explained being a leader is not at all easy. If the leader is successful to make the whole society become Krishna conscious, he will get 1/6 of the credit of their pious credit, 1/6. But if the leader fail to make their subjects, to make their citizens to become Krishna conscious, so 1/6 of their sinful reaction will be derived by the king. So the king is responsible for the sinful reaction of his citizens also. That's the point. Yeah. Being a father also like that. Yeah. Being a father also like that. Being parents in general. Text 25. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Text 26. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the furtive result of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. So in these two verses, Lord Krishna is explaining that no one should stop working, but work with the right attitude. That means work without being attached to the result. So as a preacher, Krishna is giving a general guidelines here, how a preacher should behave toward common man. Yeah. So we don't ask them to stop their materialistic work, right? We don't preach to people that, oh, we should chant 16 rounds and follow four regulative principles and give up material life. Well, what does it mean, material life? Material life means when we become disconnected to Krishna. That's material life. So we don't ask people to stop their work. Sometimes people misunderstood that, okay, when they join Krishna consciousness, when they join Hare Krishna, they should immediately become a sadhu and stop doing their prescribed duties, work. Yeah, they should become a sannyas immediately. Not like that. But the art is that we connect everything to Krishna, especially the result of our work. So one time when Brahmananda Prabhu, yeah, in the early days, Brahmananda Prabhu, he was a teacher in a university. He was a teacher in the university or college. Yeah. So he was a teacher. And then he was asking Srila Prabhupada, so Prabhupada, should I stop working and become a full-time devotee? I want to live in the ashram. And Prabhupada said, no, you continue your work because we need money. So that was like in the early days, Prabhupada said, we need money, you continue your work and all your salary you give to me and I will maintain you, Prabhupada said. Yeah. So Prabhupada is not discouraging people to stop from their work. No, continue your work and the result give to me. Yeah. Everything should be connected to Krishna. And one time there was an old man. So he's rich, very rich. He has so many factories here and there in India. So he met Srila Prabhupada, and then this man said that, oh yeah, I'm such and such person. I have this factory here. There are so many branches here and there. But Swamiji, I have all this, but I cannot sleep. And Prabhupada said, yes, that's the problem. Because you have too many factories, you cannot sleep. If you just give some of your factories to us, I guarantee that you will be able to sleep peacefully. And then Prabhupada asked His Holiness uh, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, take his address. Prabhupada said, take his address. And then this man said, no, Swamiji, it's okay. I can come at any time. And Prabhupada said, no, take his address. You can come anytime, but I also should be able to come anytime to your place. Take his address. So Prabhupada's point here is that everything should be connected to Krishna. Why this man, despite of being so rich, he cannot even get sleep because too much attachment, too much anxieties. But if you just give all those, Prabhupada said, give all those factories to me, not all, maybe some of those factories, you will be able to sleep peacefully. So Prabhupada was forcefully taking the address of this man. And I don't know what happened after that exactly. But here, the point here is that Krishna is giving us a guideline. While we are preaching Krishna consciousness, we should not discourage people to immediately become a renouncer. Yeah. Rather, we have to encourage them to do your work, get your salary, and the result offer to Krishna. Of course, Srila Rupa Goswami give us a general guideline. Again, 50% of our income should be utilized in Krishna consciousness, 25% for relatives, for families, and 25% for future needs. That's like general things. So here, there's a question for all of us here. What qualifications are required for beginning practice of Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada explained, although the ignorant man is not to be disturbed in his activities, a slightly developed Krishna conscious person may directly be engaged in the service of the Lord without waiting for other Vedic formulas. So normally, there is a process called prayaschita or purificatory process, but in order to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, to become Krishna's devotee, that prayaschita is not at all necessary, because if you have a desire, slightly developed Krishna consciousness person, Prabhupada mentioned here, just little desire, you can engage in Krishna service. Yeah. So here, regarding the non-devotee, we have to encourage them to offer the result of their activities in Krishna, to Krishna. So in that way, they will get purified and become devotee sooner or later. So one time, Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture. He was sitting on the Vyasa giving lecture. And suddenly, one drunkard came. One drunkard, he was like, hippie movement at that time. He was, smelly, dirty, long hair. He was drunk, but he was bringing a toilet paper, one roll of toilet paper. And he just walked through devotees and then just put in the front of Prabhupada this toilet paper, and then he walked away. And Prabhupada said, this man, he just started his bhakti. You see, he's offering this nice toilet paper to our movement. So slight little thing. If you have the inclination to offer something, so you are eligible to become a devotee. So just desire, the matter of desire. Yeah. So there are 3 levels of work explained in this session. Yeah, working only for the fruits, that is called karma kanda. and then establishing Krishna as the goal, yet remaining attached to the fruits. This is called Sakama Karma Yoga. Sakama means we still have material desire, but we don't want to be disconnected to Krishna. And then being completely detached from the fruits of work. This is called Niskama Karma Yoga, or it is called Buddhi Yoga. In the second form of work, the yellow color, see, though the mode of passion is still present, one advances from passion to goodness by renouncing a portion of the result of one's work. A person working in this way will gradually become detached, attain transcendental knowledge, and advance toward the transcendental platform. Okay. So this is from the surrender unto me. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam encourage us, yeah, akama sarva kamo va moksa kama udaradi tibrina bhakti yogena yajeta purusham. So akama means without material desire. Sarva kama means we have full of material desire, a lot of material desire, or moksha kama, desiring for liberation. So doesn't matter in which position we are, tibrina bhakti yogena, just perform devotional service. If you have some material desire, ask that from Krishna. This is called sakama. Ask that from Krishna. Don't ask from any other personalities, because when you ask that thing from Krishna, we are connected to Krishna. And Prabhupada explained, gradually one becomes purified simply by performing the sakama bhakti. See, simply by performing sakama bhakti, one becomes purified, and one day one will become pure devotee. Yeah, niskama bhakta. Yeah, the example is Dhruva Maharaj. The example is Dhruva Maharaj. He was a Sakama Bhakta in the beginning. Yeah, Stana Bilasi Tapasi Stito Ham Tvam Praptavan Deva Muninda Guhyam Kachan Vichinvam Apidi Viratnam Swamin Kritartosmi Varam Nayach. Dhruva said that Stana Bilasi. Stana means position. I want this position greater than Lord Brahma's position. Yeah, kingdom greater than Brahma's kingdom. I want this. But he was performing devotional service with this material motivation, and Swamin Kritartosmi Varam Nayachi. So now, after he got the darshan of the Lord, all his material desire just vanished. He becomes purified by the process of bhakti. Yeah. So Sakama, most of us, maybe not all of us, but many of us, we are situated in this second platform of bhakti. Yeah, being Sakama devotees. For example, I love to eat pizza. For example, I love to eat pizza. So I cook pizza. So while cooking, I have this mentality to enjoy that pizza. But I will not eat that pizza before I offer it to Krishna. This is called Sakama. We want to enjoy, but at the same time, we don't want to be disconnected from Krishna. Yeah. I cook the pizza, but I will not eat it until I offer it first. Of course, I have the enjoying mentality. So this is called Sakama. But by doing this process, I become purified because it's connected to Krishna. Yeah. Of course, it's different case when you just cook only for Krishna. That's pure bhakti. And then text number 27, Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasaha Ahankar Vimudhatma Kataham Iti Manyate. Here Krishna explaining to Arjuna that don't think that you are the doer. The spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego thinking himself, the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Gunai Karmani Sarvasaha. A materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptom of his nescience. So we are not the doer. This verse is so nice. Sometimes even while performing bhakti, we think that we are the doer. We think that we are great. We have done such and such service, but actually it's, you know, it's Krishna. Of course, here through the three modes of material nature, everybody is influenced by the three modes of material nature, but ultimately we are not the doer. So Arjuna is being encouraged here by Krishna. Don't think that you are the doer. Ultimately, everything is decided by me, through my energy. Yeah, the Bahiranga Sakti, the three modes of nature, is the Bahiranga Sakti of the Lord. Yeah. There was one Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Guru Kripa Prabhu. His name is Guru Kripa. Before joining ISKCON, he was a gangster. And he told Prabhupada, I don't like devotees. I don't like your disciples. But Prabhupada said, okay, you don't like, but you like me. So you just do your service. So when we need to build the ISKCON Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, so we required a lot of fund. Yeah, Prabhupada needs a lot of money. So Guru Kripa, Prabhu, he went to Japan. He went to Japan and he made money. He made money. And then he came back to Vrindavan. He brought a suitcase, and that suitcase full of American dollar. And then he put in Prabhupada's table in the front of his desk, and he opened. And he said that, Prabhupada, this is $108,000. Those days, $108,000 is a lot. Even now, 108,000 US dollar is a lot of money. So Prabhupada could sense that actually, yes, he has some pride in his heart. He thinks that he's the doer. So he showed this to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 108, exactly 108,000 US dollar. And Prabhupada said, yeah, 1,008 is good, but 1,009 is even better. So his ego was crushed immediately, So don't think that we are the doer. That's the point here. Everything is done by Krishna through his potency, the three modes. This is from Burijan Prabhu. Yeah, here Krishna explains that while the fullest conditioned soul thinks himself the doer, the one accomplishing his work, the work is actually being carried out by the three modes of material nature, the gunas. Srila Prabhupada, however, refers to an ultimate doer in his purport. So who's the ultimate doer? Is Krishna. Yeah. Of course, in this verse, Krishna mentioned that Gunai Karmani Sarvasaha. The doer is the three modes. We are acting according to the three modes of material nature. We are influenced with. But Prabhupada explained, ultimately, these three modes of material nature, who is the source, is Krishna. So Krishna is the ultimate doer. Yeah. Text number 28. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty Arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive result. Yeah. And devotee. Prabhupada says, the knower of the absolute truth is convinced in his awkward position in material association. He knows that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. What makes the difference between work in devotion and work for fruitive results is knowledge. The Tattvavid, okay, Tattvavid means one who knows the truth, or knower of the absolute truth. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur thinks, I'm not a guna, a quality or mode of nature, nor any product of a guna, nor do I have any connection with any of the gunas or the yeah. Nor do I have any connection with any of the gunas or the products of the gunas. He is, as Srila Prabhupada states, convinced of his awkward position in material association. So a tattva with one who knows the truth. I just want to finish in this point. A tattva with one who knows the truth. Yeah. He completely self-realized. He knows that he's not belong to this material world. Yeah. Just like a fish. If you put in the land, so will not be happy. So that's our awkward position. Awkward in the sense of we try to find some happiness here and there, but ultimately we are always failure. Yeah. Parabhava stavada bodha jato. Parabhava means we always being defeated. As Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his lecture, he mentioned that we are always kicked by Maya in every step. How can we be happy in the place where Krishna already certified that this place is Kalayama Saraswata? All right, I shall stop here. We continue tomorrow from text number. Where's that? Text number 29. Okay. If any question, you just prepare. So tomorrow, in the beginning of our class, you can start with questions, if any. I thank you. I thank all of you for being patient. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.